Thank you very much for joining us on the programme, and thank you for taking the time. We now move over to the Indo-Pacific, where China's Coast Guard has fired a water cannon at a Philippine ship, multiple ships, near the disputed Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea, accusing Manila of an illegal intrusion and the ramming of one of its vessels. The confrontation comes a week after Beijing approved plans to turn the shoal into a national nature reserve, a move defense analysts have warned would test Manila's response over the 150 square kilometre triangular chain of reefs and rocks. Simmering tensions have led to diplomatic rows in recent years, but no incidents have escalated into armed conflicts. Both sides accuse each other of provocations and trespassing, including water cannon use, boat ramming and dangerous manoeuvres, as well as jets shadowing Philippine aircrafts. This latest encounter between the two countries reportedly involved more than 10 Philippine ships, with China accusing them of illegally invading its territorial waters from different directions. In particular, Beijing has faulted Philippine Coast Guard vessel 3014, claiming it had disregarded solemn warnings from the Chinese side and deliberately rammed a Chinese Coast Guard vessel. China's foreign ministry has defended the firing of the water cannon, saying measures taken by its Coast Guard to safeguard territorial sovereignty and maritime rights were indisputable. Let's take a closer look at what the Chinese foreign ministry spokesman had to say.
黄岩岛是中国的固有领土。菲律宾派多艘公务船侵闯黄岩岛领海，严重侵犯中方主权和权益，严重破坏海上和平稳定。中方依法采取必要措施，维护自身领土主权和海洋权益，无可非议。事实再次证明，菲方在海上蓄意侵权挑衅，是导致局势紧张的根源。菲方应立即停止侵权挑衅，不要挑战中方维护自身合法权益的坚定决心。
We are now joined by Andrew K.P. Liang. He is a China strategist and he joins us live from Hong Kong. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us here on the programme. Andrew, reports say that 10 Philippine ships were involved in this confrontation. We have seen confrontations before, however, this amount of Philippine ships is substantial. Does this suggest that Manila is becoming more assertive in directly challenging Beijing's presence in the Scarborough Shoal?
Well, it seems to be so. But then the confrontation in the South China Sea over the Scarborough Shoals is a broken record. It keeps on being played again and again and again. It's a question of whether the sound is louder or less loud. The thing is that this current Philippine government under Marcos is anti-China, anti-Beijing. And then the previous government under the third is pro-China, and the one before the third, Aquino was anti-China, and before Aquino, Arroyo, that's pro-China. So the Philippines is shifting from one playbook to the other just to balance the confrontation or the tussle between the two great powers in the region, between the United States and China. So the current Philippine government is tied to Americans' apron strings and is playing by the American hymn book to contain China in the South China Sea, along with other countries like Japan and recently South Korea. But also previously the Quad, including India, Australia, Japan, and the United States. So this hymn book is being followed, and it's just more ships, and China is not responding the same way. along with water cannons, because both China and the Philippines, I think, do not want a hot war, nor for that matter, Philippines' paymaster, which is of course the United States. Because if there is a hot war, the United States would be drawn into the conflict. And then of course the South China Sea is 6,000 miles away from the United States. And that's the last thing President Trump wants. But still, the Trump administration is playing all games. On the one hand, trying to broker a deal over tariffs, and trying to engineer a meeting between President Xi and President Trump, so that President Trump can use it as a just to show that he's seems to be very successful. But behind the scenes is part of the China containment, which is already anchored in the South China Sea by the first island chain centered in Okinawa with a lot of American assets, the second island chain centered in Guam, again with American assets, and then, as I said, with the American allies in Japan, to a certain extent South Korea, and more so the Philippines, because there is a defense agreement between the Philippines and the United States. So we're seeing more of this hymn book being played, and both sides understands this. But in fact, this is as you pointed out, I mean, there are more ships, but then both sides do not want hot conflict.
Yes, Andrew K.P. Leung, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme. Pleasure to have you. Well, that is all that we have time for.